Hi there, we're live. Thank you so much for being here, or when you do get here, thank you for being here since I just got on live. Uh, I'm the movie review mom, and my goal is to save you time and money by giving you the scoop on filmmaking quality and content so that you can, if you're a returning subscriber that gets posted. I love hearing what you all have to say. So today, the movie I'm reviewing is called Companion, this dramatic dark humor slash horror movie is now playing in theaters and on Fandango at home simultaneously. The film is rated R, and for good reason. I'll give you some tips for parents in just a second. It's an hour and 37 minutes long, and my overall movie review mom grade is hovering between a B to maybe even a B minus. Some people are loving this movie and giving it an A and 5 stars and all of that. But there were some things I liked and some things I didn't like. And I'm going to go through that as well as offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about if you watch this with other people, funny lines, interesting lines, and then we'll end up with recommendations films that are sort of similar that you might also really like, especially if you do like this one. All right, so first I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell. This film is timely with the growing strength of artificial intelligence and robotics. I just reviewed a movie based on a true story about robotics. And I know it might be getting confusing because I'm doing some edited movie reviews and some lives. So be sure and check both places when you click on this channel. Anyway, that one was a really great movie about robotics. True story. Anyway, so I recently read an article about men who were asked whether or not that they wanted to, or whether or not they would prefer a human woman or a realistic robot. An alarmingly high percentage of men say they preferred a robot. Yikes! The film does a really great job exploring humanity's evolving relationship with technology. And I should say, even the replacement of technology over human social interaction. Super interesting. This is the feature debut of writer slash director Drew Hancock. What a nice start. The story is about a weekend getaway with some friends at a remote cabin that turns into chaos after it's revealed that one of the guests is not who they say they are. Dun, dun, dun. So, quick tips for parents. This is not really appropriate for kids, really. Lots of blood and gore. One of the characters is covered in blood throughout the majority of the film, and that's not an image you want your kids to have. There are violent murders plural. A married man goes after another woman, actually two other women. Lots of sound effects during intimate moments, if you know what I mean. We don't see anything, thank goodness, but we hear, we know, adults know what's going on. Lots of profanity, including a lot of F-bombs, gay guys kissing. We see a charred hand after it's held over fire. I mean, all that stuff is stuff you don't want in your kids' brains. And you may not want in your brains either. Just saying, this is some of the content to consider. So some of the themes that are illustrated very well are emotional support robots, feminism, consent, murder, control, self-awareness, purpose, greed, and toxic relationships. Now, I'm going to look over here because this will tell me who's in the room and who's writing comments. Okay, no comments yet, but thanks for joining me. All right, so here's the list of things that I really liked. First of all, the young cast did a really great job. It includes Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid, Lucas Gage, Megan Suri, and Harvey. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Is it Guillen or is it Gillen? I'm reading it like I'm reading Spanish or even French, really. Guillaume. Anyway, as soon as Jack Quaid smiles, you instantly know he's the son of famous actor Dennis Quaid. And then speaking of Sophie Thatcher, she really did a terrific job in this movie. She did a really good job in the horror movie Heretic and seems to have a knack for horror movies. I was even more impressed with her performance in this film than in Heretic. And by the way, I did a review of Heretic. So if you haven't seen that and you're interested in her, definitely check out my review of that one as well. I kind of got all personal and rambled way too long, which I tend to do. But I thought it was an interesting movie and she did a great job. The color palette in this movie attempts to make this dark comedy kind of feel like bubble gum, where you're like, is this funny? Am I supposed to be laughing? And yet, what I'm seeing on the screen is kind of horrific. So it's an interesting blend. There are twists, and I love twists. I'm a sucker for twists. There's a lot of dark humor, as I mentioned, which is helpful. Otherwise, it's just like, stabbing and murder and horror stuff. There are some meet cute moments that will give you the romance vibes because it is sort of a romance as well. Now, question, is it intentional that the name Iris, this main character, the face of Sophie Thatcher, who's on the poster, is it intentional that her name Iris is Siri spelled backwards? No, I'm not saying she's Siri, but based on the poster, it's a dead giveaway that she is not human, that there's a robot action going on there. Anyway, I just wondered about that. Tell me what you think. On the one hand, the movie is a bloody slasher horror. On the other hand, the movie explores toxic relationships where one person has all the control and the other person tolerates it because they're so in love. On the third hand, and no, that's not a thing, the movie really makes you think about how you use technology to enhance your life and maybe even substitute it for human connection. And for all of those things, I really like the film. Now, onto the list of things that I didn't quite like. First of all, there is some jumping around in the timeline that might confuse viewers, mostly in Act 1. I mean, if you're paying attention, you can figure it out. Obviously, it's not super complicated, but you might, if you look away, you might like think, wait, what happened? Where am I? You'll enjoy this movie more if you don't watch the trailer and you don't know anything about the story, which was what happened to me in my case. All I saw was the poster, so I knew there was something going on, but I knew nothing more than that. And so because of that, I was able to enjoy it. I think the trailer kind of gives away a little bit too much. Kind of spoils some of the surprises. All right, I'm looking over here to see if anybody's chatting. No, but I see some more people have joined us. So, hey, thanks. I thought that the final twist was actually pretty lame. I just got through saying I love twists, but this last twist, I was like, oh, brother, come on, because that just drives plot holes throughout the whole movie. And even without that last twist, there are a lot of plot holes in the story. So don't overthink this too much. Just try to enjoy it if you think that you're going to enjoy this type of movie. And the worst part of this experience is that the movie poster really does give away the big reveal or twist. If it had just had a picture of Sophie Thatcher, looking kind of cute, you would go, oh, okay, is this, a rom-com or whatever? But just based on the poster that there's going to be some twist. And you figure it's probably going to be robotic. And you would be right. All right. So whenever I watch movies, I write down the funny lines and the interesting lines that I hear simply so I can share them with you so you can get a taste for the dialogue and script writing quality and all of that. You can see all of them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com. But I'm going to share some of them with you right now. So Eli is a character played by Harvey Gillen, however you pronounce his name. Sorry, Harvey. But anyway, so he swears, he drops an F-bomb in this line. And so obviously I'm not going to say that because I don't swear. But he says, there's a robot, obviously, in the movie. And he says, are you effing robo-shaming me? And it just kind of made me laugh out because everybody is body shaming, robo-shaming, shaming for all kinds of stuff. It just made me laugh. And then I'm not going to say who says this line, because I'm trying to make this review spoiler free, but somebody says, okay, a robot says, look at that, my very first lie. I see the appeal, which is terrible. We shouldn't lie. But then I also wrote down a lot of interesting lines. And so Josh Quaid's character says this several times, and it becomes kind of not a mantra, but a point, a thematic moment that gets repeated that forces you to consider, is it just programming or what is happening here? And he says, it's just programming. He's programming robots and that kind of thing. And then the movie starts and ends with this line. And again, I'm not going to tell you who says it, but somebody says, Cough attack. That's the bad thing about going live is if I start to have a cough attack, I can't edit it out. So I apologize. Anyway, somebody says, there were two times I felt truly happy. First, the day I met Josh. Second, the day I killed him. And you're like, oh, it's a great beginning line. And then, of course, at the end, you now know the full story and you're like, okay, yeah, I see that. And then let's see, here's another interesting line. And again, I'm not going to tell you who says it. No spoilers, but somebody says, it's like there's this thick black cloud covering everything. Like we see the world, but we don't really see the world, you know? We're all just stumbling around directionless. No sense of meaning, no sense of purpose. And I thought that that was an interesting line as well. Again, we hear that at the beginning of the movie, and I'm thinking we hear it again at the end. And once you've seen the whole movie and you hear it again at the end, you're like, okay, yes. And I love the theme of purpose because we can make ourselves very busy throughout our days and our lives without really having true purpose or feeling like you're living your purpose. And so I liked that theme a lot. All right. So whenever I watch movies, I instantly think of other films that are sort of similar. And the first one I thought of is The Stepford Wives. Now, I really like the remake that was done back in 2004, which wasn't seems like it wasn't that long ago, but that actually was over 10 years, almost 11 years ago, that movie was made. Anyway, I thought that that was a really good movie, had lots of humor and interesting themes that are similar to this one, maybe toxic, dependent relationships, robotics or AI, finding the perfect companion, you know, all of those types of themes. I also thought of Black Mirror, where things aren't always as they seem and with lots of twists. And so I like that. And then another more recent one that came out last year that I reviewed. If you're interested, check out my review of that one. It's called Don't Worry, Darling. And that has a lot to do with the perfect companion or servant or subservient slave or, you know, I don't want to give spoilers in case you haven't seen that movie, but really great performances and some interesting ideas in that one as well. All right, that is it. I'm looking back over here to see if anybody's posted comments. You all are being very quiet, but I appreciate your being here. When you get a minute, run over, join me on my Facebook group called Movie Review Mom, and you can find me on Instagram as Movie Review Mom, but also as Trina Boice, where you can learn about my books. I've got 35 of them out there, as well as my online courses, my products, and my travel, and my other shenanigans. I'm leading a tour group to Israel in October, November of this year. And so if you're interested, comment down below and I can send you all the deets. I'm super excited about that one. It's tying in with two new books. One I just wrote, it comes out right before Easter, and the other one I'm right in the thick of writing. And so I'm super excited about that as well. Anyway, enough talk. Have a fantastic day. And thank you so much again. I keep saying that, but I really appreciate knowing that you're there. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye for now.